How could he say something like that? Cancel Matt Rife.
Matt Rife is a comedian who's been in the industry for almost 13 years, but only got popular after he got better looking and started posting on TikTok. He was well liked, especially by women. However, after all his controversies, people are saying he's unfunny, misogynistic, and egotistical. Let's go a little bit back to 2017 when he was on Wild 'N Out with Zendaya. The game they were playing was called Talking Spit, and everyone was trying to make Zendaya laugh so that she spit the water out of her mouth. But take a look at what happens when it's Matt Rife's turn.
Look, you're mixed. I want to be black. Let's make a lifestyle movie. Spit that water out so I can get your number, please.
Luckily, the people on her side stepped in, but it was still inappropriate to touch her like that, and many people commented about this. One user said, "You don't walk up to someone and grab their face like that. I thought she handled herself really well. She was much nicer than I would have been." Also, many people were saying that he was basically begging her to laugh in that clip because he's not funny. When you're invited to a show like Wild 'N Out, it's an opportunity to show your skills and, more importantly, make people laugh. But this rubbed people the wrong way. Regardless, this was when Matt Rife wasn't as popular as he is now. After he blew up on TikTok though, he got so big that he got his very own Netflix special called Natural Selection. However, this Netflix special broke the camel's back, and after it, nobody looked at Matt Rife the same way. In the special, Matt Rife made a joke about DV and started getting cancelled for it. He tells a story about being in a ratchet Baltimore restaurant with a friend and noticing their female server has a black eye. They wonder why the restaurant wouldn't have the server work solely in the kitchen so that customers wouldn't see her black eye, and then says,
Like, this is the face of the company? Like, this is who you have greeting people? And my boy who I was with was like, yeah, I feel bad for her, man. I feel like they should put her in the kitchen or something where nobody has to see her face, you know? And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye. So.
Most of his fan base are women, and it wasn't funny to them.
The biggest comment I got was, "You're just too sensitive. You shouldn't watch comedy if you can't handle people pushing the boundaries." He didn't push any boundaries. I heard the same exact jokes in my middle school cafeteria. Probably has a black eye because she can't cook. You only have that mic in your hand because you got veneers and a chin implant.
There are ways to go about jokes like this. Take Eddie Murphy's joke about DV, for example.
Remember in the old days when you could beat up a woman? Remember that shit back in the 20s? Guys would smack their wives and they move and they'll just go, oh. You can't do shit like that no more. Women be taking aerobics, they'll f*** you up now.
The joke Matt Rife made is that women belong in the kitchen, which has been said millions of times. But the difference is Eddie Murphy ended with women feeling empowered, and Matt ended basically saying that her abuse was justified. On the special, he also said, "One thing that I wanted to tackle in this special was showing people that despite what you think about me online, I don't pander my career to women. I would argue this special is more for guys, and the women who are watching were not happy about this either."
Everybody's conclusion has been, oh, I guess I've only seen his crowd work and I've never seen his jokes. It very much read like he was trying way too hard to be funny to men. Girls, right? And their crystals. Just stupid, right? Right? Not only were the jokes in the first 5 minutes so misogynistic and not funny, I had to turn them off, but they were delivered with this weird, like, fever pitch. Even the misogyny of this statement is overwhelming. Like, if you make jokes that women like, you are pandering. But if you make jokes that guys like, you're just for the guys. R.I.P. Matt Rife. Could have had everything.
After getting heat from his Netflix special, he posts a story on his Instagram saying, "If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology." And when you click on the link, it brings you to a website that sells special needs helmets. So he doubled down on his joke. Now, some people did find it funny, others not so much, saying that his second joke also offended people with disabilities. After all this, he ended up going on Jordan Peterson's podcast.
You're a comedian and you got canceled for a domestic assault joke, and then in response to that, instead of apologizing like a good boy, you put up a joke ad site about special needs helmets to protect the people who are offended by you. And now to get yourself out of trouble, you're going to come on my podcast.
I never
That's
said
your
that.
plan.
I
eh?
was hoping it would make things way worse.
This was a bad look for Matt, as Jordan Peterson is very controversial, especially at the moment. Now, the biggest takeaway from this interview, as well as many others he's done, is that he always says that no one knows how to take a joke these days. But it seems Matt Rife is a hypocrite because he can't take jokes himself. Let's talk about a surgeon that's known for making jokes and funny posts about plastic surgery and his controversy with Matt Rife. This surgeon, known as Many Faces of Chicago, posted this video saying, "Me after creating the greatest jawline ever seen, just for my patient to get cancelled right after." The surgeon didn't name anyone, but he did tag comedian and stand-up. Due to this, he got a bunch of comments tagging Matt Rife, basically trolling him. Matt Rife then saw this video and he actually responded saying, "Lying about medical history is illegal, just FYI." Matt Rife has previously said that he's never done any kind of surgery before.
Look at pictures of me at like 19, completely different looking
Did
person.
you go to like Dr. Huff Sapien down the street?
Literally
or, like, what
not a
happened?
single thing. I just kept getting older, I guess.
Really?
And it's so
don't believe
funny.
it.
The only thing I've ever done is my teeth. I got veneers, obviously, because my teeth were fucked when I
Yeah.
was a kid. But it's so fucking funny to me. Like, it's people's number one like online insult is like, well, at least I don't have plastic surgery. It's like, cool, neither do I.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to clarify under this post, but because of Matt's response, people said he basically exposed himself. There was also another controversy that came from the Netflix special, this time involving a 6-year-old. Matt Rife made a joke about astrology in his Netflix special saying, "I'm so tired of you ladies blaming your poor decision-making skills on planets that don't even know you," and then made a joke about Jupiter's ring.
Has nothing to do with the stars, man. Just because Jupiter has a ring and you don't, doesn't mean that's who you're supposed to look up to for all this magical advice, man.
A lot of people were wondering why he used Jupiter as an example instead of Saturn, the planet with the big ring around it, which is a fair point. But this 6-year-old boy who is known for being a big fan of space started getting mentioned under these clips of Matt Rife. So he made a video on his mom's TikTok account talking about Saturn's rings and also saying that, quote, Matt Rife is mean to girls.
Actually, it's Saturn that has the rings, and it has more also, and you're mean to girls.
And then Matt Rife responded in the comments saying, "Jupiter also has ring. Oh, and Santa Claus isn't real. Your mom buys you presents with the money she makes on OF. Good luck." His mom doesn't do OF, so that was an unnecessary dig, but just in general, he didn't need to respond to this video. Yes, Jupiter does technically have rings, but clearly the mom made the video to get attention and start beef with Matt Rife, exploiting her son to take a shot at him, hoping he wouldn't fire back. And then when he did, she made a response video saying,
Matt Rife has decided to start beef with my 6-year-old child online. Like Matt, I have a full female audience online. Although I like mine. I don't want them, man. You can keep them. Please. I will gladly take your audience because we know you can't satisfy them anyways. This all started when his comedy special, which, if that's what we're calling comedy, the things he said that weren't even funny were posted on TikTok, and I started being tagged in them because everyone knows that my son is like a genius and he's really into space. I fiercely protect my child online. I'm not a family channel. People know his name, they know he likes space, they know he likes Minecraft, and that's pretty much it. Most people do not know any personal details about my child. And because of that, and because I have such a large audience, when I see people in person and when people see space clips, they tag me in them because they know that that's what he likes. He's not tagged in it. I have no connection with him, and it was posted on a Netflix page. While you clearly took a lighthearted video and turned it into fighting with a 6-year-old, it's because I'm richer than you, and I didn't have to pay for a Forbes article to fake it. And I really wish you luck on what's left of your career, but keep my child's name out of your mouth. We can do part 2.
The thing about this video is she portrays the entire incident as if he was the one who started it, but technically she did, and she's the one benefiting from it, considering their following counts. But the actual issue here is Matt Rife's response. It's mean considering what the 6-year-old said wasn't that harsh. Matt Rife could have also just said, "Thanks for letting me know, I should have better prepared, but Jupiter does technically still have rings," or something along those lines. The famous saying, "Kill him with kindness," would have been perfect to apply here, and that type of response would have made people react completely differently, but instead he completely overreacted and actually ended up coming across worse. I'm sure he thought that the mother would probably read the comment and not the son, but it's a rude comment and it wasn't that serious in the first place. However, this isn't the first time he's acted like this with a child. This tweet is circulating now where Matt quote retweeted Mason Ramsey, who was an 11-year-old boy who went viral in 2018 for yodeling inside a Walmart. Because of this, Mason got invited to different shows and even performed on stage. So he posted a picture with Post Malone and Matt retweeted it and said, "F's on your forehead, some gum?" Now there was no reason for Matt to reply like this and make fun of Mason's appearance. Mason then replied saying, "It's a birthmark, not all of us are perfect." That's when Matt Rife replied and basically backtracked, probably because of comments he got on that tweet, which is now deleted by the way, and he ended up saying, "You are perfect bro, was genuinely curious, lol, I've got your new single on repeat little man, keep doing big things." Now this is a good response to Mason's reply, but the way Matt went about the first tweet was so rude, and if Mason didn't reply the way he did, aka with kindness, Matt Rife definitely would have made more rude jokes, because looking at all of these incidents, it seems that Matt Rife gets offended easily and overreacts. Another controversy involves the way he treats and talks about the woman he's in a relationship with. Brooke Schofield has her own podcast called The Cancel Podcast with her best friend Tana Mojo. And on the podcast, she talked about how she was dating Matt Rife in the beginning of this year. And Matt Rife had told her not to see anybody else and to be exclusive.
I don't want you seeing, I don't want you to even look at another guy. I don't want anybody else touching you. I don't want you, he didn't want me hanging out with like my guy friends. Like, it was so specific in that, like, he was like, "You're the only girl I want." We're talking about when we're gonna move to DC and run away. Like,
he flew her out for Valentine's Day, and when he was on tour, he would bring her with him to his shows every night. Soon after, while they were still together, he went on a podcast called Stiff Socks Podcast. And the podcast episode he was in is actually now deleted, but there are still clips online of the various things he said. So he goes on this podcast, and one of the guys asks him, "What's your type?" And Matt Rife says,
blonde and curvy, probably.
Blonde.
I love fake for sure.
Really?
Which is the opposite of Brooke. And when Brooke first watched the podcast episode, she said, "If anybody asks me what my type is, I say ugly men, so it's not a big deal." But then Matt Rife talks about his big disgust with women, which is,
Am I supposed to f you or thumb wrestle? Like, I don't know.
I mean, both, honestly.
I don't love a giant clit. I don't want to look down and feel like like God left a tag on you.
What he says is very inappropriate, and Brooke admits that she has exactly what Matt Rife was making fun of, and so do a third of American women. But the worst part is that the night before he went on the podcast, he had been with Brooke, and he knows exactly how she looks, and he basically admits that she's the opposite of what he is attracted to. After the tour, he started to ghost her and was flaky on plans, but she told him that she wanted to have an adult conversation addressing why he's not around that much, considering they were actually next door neighbors. That's when Matt told her that he has no time to be around anybody or have a romantic relationship. And she was like, "Okay, that's fine, I understand," and they split ways amicably.
He says, "I haven't felt this way about anybody in so long, like I've been dreading telling you," because he's like, "I just wanted to keep like doing it as long as I could, but like I can't put energy into this, like whatever." And I was like, so respectful, honestly, like appreciate you telling me.
And then Matt goes on Brooke's podcast with Tana Mojo, and when he goes on her podcast, he pretends that he doesn't know her at all.
I don't know if you've ever fucked a fan. I never fucked a fan. Yeah. Would you ever fuck a fan? Have you ever dated a fan?
I don't think so. I mean,
You're in Atlanta, Georgia. You've been there for 3 nights. You're fucked.
A few moments later.
I love women. I just want them to not yell out to take off my pants during the show. That's all
so
I want.
fair.
That's all I want.
That's so fair.
Never again.
The belt thing. You know what I mean?
Well, you made a sign. It was different.
Yeah.
That was respectful.
Yeah. That's fair.
That was quiet.
Really
Yeah, you put in arts and crafts time. I appreciate that.
Within the last 2 weeks, Brooke said she was scrolling on TikTok and saw a girl who had a bunch of pictures of Matt and herself. And people were flooding her comment section saying things like, "I'm so sorry for you. I can't believe that you're dating Matt Rife." And she's like, "No, you guys, stop freaking out. This isn't me. I was with Matt in the beginning of the year. We don't date anymore." And Brooke saw that and she was like, "That's so weird because I was with Matt in the beginning of the year." And so she DMs her and says, "Hey, I saw you post those pictures with Matt. That's so weird because Matt and I were together and exclusive." And she was like, "So was I." And then she immediately puts her in a giant chat room with 6 other women.
There were timelines, there were Venn diagrams, we were comparing notes. It was so
I
crazy?
see why you waited to tell me this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, Tana, for a man who doesn't have time, this man had the most time.
So basically, Matt had been with multiple women at once and lied to all of them. Now, before recording the recent podcast episode, Brooke said that she reached out to Matt to make sure that she had her quote facts straight. And that's when she realized that he had blocked her number. But it seems after the episode aired, Matt unblocked her and allegedly messaged her, and her reaction was quite funny. At the end of one of Brooke's Instagram posts, she has a screenshot of Matt Rife texting her saying, "Brooke, this is MR." And Brooke's response to him was the same link to special needs helmets that Matt had posted on his story as an apology link. Her followers were shocked, and Brooke confirmed in the comment section that it was real. And when somebody referenced the fact that Matt had apparently referred to himself by his initials, Brooke replied, like he's JFK. Now, I do think that it's important to talk a little bit about Matt Rife's past because it's definitely contributed to why he thinks and acts the way he does. We are all human at the end of the day, and the best way to truly understand someone is to learn about their circumstances. And although that doesn't make their actions okay, it does help to understand them better. Jeff Gwenther, a professional therapist, talks about what psychologically could have happened that made Matt Rife abandon his audience, and it's an interesting take.
Psychologically, what happened that made Matt Rife abandon his audience? I'm not going to diagnose Matt, but with the limited info I know about his family and childhood, I want to do some armchair psychology. Matt's dad died by unaliving himself when Matt was 17 months old. That's a deeply traumatic loss, especially in the context of losing a father and male role model at such a young age. His mom, from all accounts, appears to be an amazing mother. He grew up with 3 older stepsisters and 1 younger half-sister. Matt was the only boy among 5 women in his family. It's likely he learned to gain attention by being the funny one, a classic role. We all adapt in our families to get our needs met, and his way was likely through humor. He had to learn to perform to an all-female audience, his mom and 4 sisters. No surprise he's so skilled at connecting with a predominantly female audience. This is starting to make sense. But there's more. His grandfather stepped in soon after his father's passing. Matt describes his grandfather as the greatest man he's ever known. He's never loved someone so much, and if he's ever made you laugh, it's because of his grandfather. However, a year ago in November, he lost his grandfather, the man who had been like a father figure to him. Another huge loss for Matt. He yearns for the love of his father, who he lost as a baby, and he deeply misses the connection he had with his grandfather, who bonded with him over humor. This shift towards a male audience might represent an unconscious effort to fill the void left by these male figures, perhaps seeking the approval and love he missed from his father and the connection he cherished with his grandfather. Is my analysis correct? No idea. I'm missing so much important information. Does this excuse Matt's misogynistic jokes and problematic comedy writing? Of course not. You cannot mental health your way out of accountability. Does it possibly put things into context? For me, it kind of does.
Matt Rife responded to most of his controversies in his recent comedy show in Florida, and the first thing he talked about was the DV joke, where he tripled down, this time saying, "The joke is kind of funny because you know it's a joke." He said it wasn't the real circumstance and it doesn't reflect his real views on domestic violence. He then addressed the special needs link he posted as an apology, saying, "The only reason I did a fake apology was because in what universe would I ever apologize for a joke? It's a joke. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it." And then he talked about the ableist comments. "Some people thought I was making fun of special needs people, and obviously that's not what I was doing. I was making fun of critics for thinking I would ever apologize for a joke. I'm saying you needed those helmets way more than they do." When it comes to the beef with the 6-year-old, he said, "Know that you're doing the right thing if you are, and just live your life. Everybody wants to be miserable on their own. And teach your kid how many planets have rings around them." And he ended that off by saying, "You shouldn't start trouble and be wrong." Then he addressed the surgery comments. People were saying I had jaw surgery to have a jawline. That's funny to me because I'm like, use your brain. If I'm gonna get transformative surgery done to me, do you think I'm starting with my face? You would never hear me tell another joke for the rest of my life. And then he ended his set by saying the only thing that truly bothered him about the past few weeks is the accusation that he hated his female audience. I hated that because women are the ones who gave me the career I have right now, and I'd never be anything less than grateful for that. I don't feel like I lost any female fans. I felt like I lost people who built an image of me that I did not live up to, which is on them. I've just been me, and we don't happen to have the same sense of humor, and that's fine. You don't have to like everybody. He basically addressed most of his recent controversies except the one involving Brooke. In his responses, for the most part, he stood by the things he said but clarified that he doesn't hate women. Whether or not he's being completely sincere or just covering for himself is debatable because he knows how much he has to lose if he doesn't do that. The public's perception still remains divided and his future in the industry is still uncertain.